Hello, this is Tomas Matuszak in Dwan's Comp 401 with the short and long on debugging. Alright, so this video is a very brief overview of how to do basic debugging in Eclipse for Comp 401. This is a Java program that takes a number that you give it, adds it to another number, and then returns the result. So let's go ahead and run this program. In the console it asks us for a number, so let's go ahead and give it a number 400, and let's see what it gives us. It prints out some statements. It says the first number that we gave it was 400, and it took that and added it to a second number, which is 20, and it gave us a final result of 450. Now, I don't know about you, but that doesn't seem right. Adding 400 to 20 does not give you 450. There is something wrong with this program, and so we're going to have to do some debugging to figure it out. I suspect that it has something to do with this addition method, which takes the first number and adds it to the second number. The simplest and most fundamental way to do debugging is to print out the values of variables in places in the code where you think the problem is occurring. However, doing that for every problem can be tedious. Thankfully, Eclipse gives us plenty of other debugging tools. The most useful of these tools is the breakpoint. A breakpoint is a place in the code that the program will stop at if it reaches that line while in the debugging mode. To add a breakpoint to your code, you simply double-click that little blue sidebar on the side of your code, or right-click and choose Toggle Breakpoint. To actually utilize your breakpoint, you can't just run the code with the normal Run Code button. You have to choose the debugging option. So we've added a breakpoint in the place where we think there's a problem. Let's go ahead and hit debug. It starts off normally, it asks you for a number. So let's go ahead and give it a number, 400. When you do that, you will get this pop-up. Go ahead and click yes. It will switch you to the debugging view. So this is the debugging view. Let's take a look at a couple of very important elements here. First of all, to get back to the normal view, click the Java tab up here. This next window is very important. It is the variables window, and it shows you all of the variables that you have initialized right now. These variables can have properties that you can expand. So here we've expanded the input string variable, and you can see all of its properties. So let's take a look at the code now. So we see that when we typed in 400, we reached the breakpoint and triggered the entry into debugging view. Now we have stopped at the actual line that the debugging breakpoint was put at. The code is now waiting for you to tell it to move along, and the way you're going to do that is by using these two buttons, Step Into and Step Over. The Step Into button will allow you to follow the code line by line exactly as it is executed, and if you call a method, it'll dive into that method and follow it too. The Step Over button is not as precise. It will not dive into any methods that you call. It'll just keep going on to the next line. But I think the problem is with the addition method. So let's go ahead and use Step Into to go into the addition method and see what's going on. And now we see that the program is now inside the addition method. And up here we see the local variables for the addition method. If we step into again, the highlighted code will execute. And we now see the result of that operation. Up in the variables window, we now see that the variable named result is holding the value of that operation, and we see that it is not what it is supposed to be. We have now isolated the problem to that last line of code that we executed, and now we see that the problem lies with an unnecessary 30 being added to the sum. Let's go ahead and fix this code, and now if we run it again, following the exact same steps that we did before, we will see that the result variable is holding the correct value of 420. We have now fixed the problem. You can use these tools and techniques not only for fixing bad output, but also for isolating and understanding errors that you get in your program.